Okay, first thing you need to know about me is that I never really liked Wonder Woman as a character, and I find her boring and uninteresting. At least that's how I feel about most DC characters, especially Superman. I just find him boring too. So the 2017 Wonder Woman movie got a lot of praise from critics and audiences alike. Everybody liked it, but personally, I didn't enjoy it. I thought it was just an average movie. I didn't think it was like a masterpiece or anything. And I never really liked Wonder Woman as a character because I just find her uninteresting. Like she's an overpowered goddess, and I don't see anything compelling about her. And especially the way she's always written. She's always written as this like super strong, undefeatable goddess. I mean, in the movies. I don't read comics. I've only seen the movies. So in these movies, the DCEU movies, she's written as this badass, overpowered goddess who can do anything, and I don't find that compelling. Now, a new Wonder Woman movie came out a few months ago. In all honesty, I was never excited for it, and I'm not excited for any DC movie at this point. The DCE just messed up like everything, and just Justice League was the final nail in the coffin for me. I didn't see Aquaman, I didn't see Shazam or any other movie that came afterwards. I don't really have the interest. So I've seen this new Wonder Woman movie, and I gotta tell you, there is nothing that I liked about that movie, and like everything just doesn't make sense. And from the plot to the characters, like nothing feels like there was effort put into it. It all felt bland and just boring and stupid. And there are a lot of inconsistencies and has moments, and like Wonder Woman raping a man and not giving a damn about it. Like she never, not even once, talks about it. She just violated him like it was nothing, and yeah, that's not a good thing. That's a horrible message to send to people out there, because people are gonna think like if a man rapes a woman, it's a bad thing, and if a woman rapes a man, it's not a bad thing. That's what my nephew asked me. Like, is this okay? Like, and he's 11 years old, and he was asking me, is this okay? Is it okay for her to do that? And I don't think he even understands sex like that much, but he knew that was not right. He knew that was not right. And then also things like Steve flying a modern jet, despite that the technology, despite the fact that the technology is like 70 years or so ahead of his time, like why the fuck did the wrong bring him back in another man's body when he can literally spawn things out of nothing? And this shit doesn't make any sense. Like speaking of the Rock, how the fuck is the nobody, absolutely nobody in this world of billions of people, not a single person wished for something like the world to end or to have Max's powers or just something really big. Nobody wished for anything like that. You want to tell me in a world full of 8 billion people or so, nobody wished for the world to end? Like nobody. If I were there, I would have wished to have this guy's powers. I would have wished for all his abilities to come to me. I would have wished to become omnipotent or something like that. I would have wished to become a god. You want to tell me that nobody ever wished something like that in this world full of 8 billion people? That doesn't make sense at all. Like, and how the fuck does everybody in this world speak English? And how the fuck is it that nobody decided not to renounce that wish? Like, I wouldn't have renounced my wish, no matter what. No matter what this Wonder Woman chick said, I would have never renounced my wish. Imagine if I wished for my sister to heal from the cancer that she has. I'm not saying my sister has cancer, but imagine if my sister had cancer and I wished for her to not have cancer and the cancer went away. Would I want that cancer to come back to my sister? No. So I wouldn't have renounced my wish. So to think that in this movie, nobody ever thought, you know what? I'm not going to renounce my wish. I'm gonna keep what I have. I want to keep the $1 billion that I have. Nobody decided not to renounce that wish. Like everybody just renounced that wish. Why? It doesn't make sense. And how the hell does this dreamstone thing work? Like, what if two people make contradicting wishes? Like, what if I wish to become immortal and my wish is granted, and then you wish for me to die? Am I going to die or not? Such things are never like explained, and they're just questions that I kept asking myself throughout the movie. I know they're not really that important, but I can't help but just ask myself such questions like, what if they're contradicting wishes that contradict each other? What's the stone gonna do? I feel like the writers just made themselves they made themselves in, they put themselves in a lot of trouble by introducing this plot element, like this plot device, the wishing stone. I wish they had developed a better rules for the stone so that we could understand what it can do and what it cannot do. Like, for example, when someone wishes for something, it just spawns out of nowhere. But then when Wonder Woman wishes for Steve to come back, it doesn't create a body for him or something like that. It just puts him in another man's body. You know, the funny thing about that is that I thought that was going to be like the negative side of Wonder Woman wishing this guy back, but it wasn't. It wasn't even focused on at all. Like they treated it like it's nothing, and that really bothered me. It really bothered me. Anyway, I'm 6 minutes into this. Let me just get to it. So I'm not gonna review the movie because there are a lot of people who reviewed it, and I'll be basically repeating what they said. So I'm not gonna do that. This video is gonna be a little bit lengthy, so let me just get straight into the rewrite. I'm gonna rewrite the whole movie, but I'm not gonna change. Okay, I'm gonna change a lot of things. I'm gonna change a lot of things, but anyway, let's do the Wonder Woman 1984 review. No, not review, rewrite. And I am Don Hayden's. Welcome to the channel, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please like it and subscribe. Let's get started. Okay, so Wonder Woman 1984. Normally, I come up with completely different stories for my rewrites, but today I'll be fixing the story that Wonder Woman 1984 follows. So without any further talking, let us jump right into it. So this is how I will do it. I will remove a lot of things from the original story and add a few things. So I will start with what I will remove from the story and then continue to add on to the story and make it better. I want to try to make this video as short as possible, so let us begin. I don't want it to hit more than 30 minutes. At least 30 minutes maximum. That's my that's my style. So things I will remove. Maxwell Lord. I mean, don't get me wrong, the actor does a really good job with what he has, but I feel like his character is just unnecessary. Like, he's just meh, you know, we don't really need him. So I want to remove him as a character completely. He's not gonna be there. And then the second thing I will remove is the first two scenes of the movie. You know, the child Diana scene. And you know what? Let me not remove that scene. Let me keep it for something. There's something that I'm going to do in this rewrite. I've written it down in my points. There's something that I'm going to do that might go back to that scene. So let's not remove the child Diana scene. Let's just keep it. Even though I feel like it could have been handled better, let's just keep it. But I'm going to remove the mall scene because it's so stupid it hurts. Like, I hate that scene. I've never hated a scene in a movie the way I hate that scene. I just fucking hate that scene. So that's one of the things that I'm going to remove. Because apparently Patty Jenkins didn't want to remove it because it's supposedly, according to her, it's supposed to show people who are watching Wonder Woman for the first time who Wonder Woman is and stuff like that. But like, isn't that the point of the first movie? Like, you can't watch part 2 of a movie without watching part 1. Obviously, you're not going to understand shit. So those people have to watch the first movie before watching this one. That's the whole point of a sequel. You don't have to establish the character in a sequel. You have to establish the character in the first movie. That's the whole fucking point of the movie. Like, what the heck? Okay, I'm sorry. It just annoys me a lot that Patty Jenkins didn't want to remove these scenes. But okay, of course, I'll keep that scene, but not for the purpose of establishing Diana's character, but for something that I'm going to do in the future in the future of this video. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay, so those two scenes, I want to remove them, and they're pretty useless to me. Man, I wrote a really long script for this video, but I'm just skipping over everything because I don't want this video to be too long. We are already at 9 minutes. So those two scenes are out, and so I'm gonna make my first change. They should have made this cheetah girl the main villain, and it would have really worked pretty well, and I'm going to explain how. First of all, no cheetah. I don't want her to be cheater, like a cheater, like what she was in this thing. You don't necessarily have to make a character comic book actually accurate. Look at Bane from the Dark Knight Rises. He's not comic book accurate because he doesn't have those muscle boosting whatever drugs. He's not comic book accurate, but he's still compelling. So I don't want her to be like a cheater because that's fucking stupid. It works in the comics, but not in this movie. So imagine this. The Dreamstone could still be in the movie. Like my idea of how to fix the story is centered around the Dreamstone, but instead of making it the main focus of the story with all the wishes and bullshit, we make it a small plot device that drives the characters to do what they do, but in a much compelling way. So Wonder Woman is still living the life that she has been living, like in the original story, but instead of saving people, she's laying low. Why? Because the Justice League movie, they talk about how she has been hiding for fucking decades, and this movie completely ignored that. So I'm gonna make sure that I emphasize that Wonder Woman has been hiding. That's why I'm removing the mall scene, because it doesn't make sense. If she's been hiding, then why the fuck did Bruce Wayne say she hasn't been hiding when she's been clearly showing herself? And you can argue that she was actually hiding because she took down the cameras in the mall, but that doesn't make any fucking sense because the cameras don't store the fucking tape, the fucking video that's stored in tapes or hard drives or whatever the fuck they were using in the 80s. They're not stored in the cameras themselves, so that doesn't make sense either. So yeah, she's living the same life that she's been living, laying low, not doing this hero work. Yeah, so anyway, I will also remove these dumb scenes where Diana meets Barbara for the first time. Her name is Barbara, right? Like, I'm not sure. I forgot. So, yeah. So, I want to remove that scene where she meets her for the first time and they get to know each other. So, in this version of my rewrite, they already know each other. Diana has been friends with her for a while because they work together. So, the movie starts out with Barbara and Diana as friends. I would have done it that way because in the original movie, the friendship, or whatever that was, it felt fake. It felt forced. That's not how friendships are formed. And trust me, I tried that many times and I failed pretty hard. So now that we don't have to show them becoming friends, we just show them as friends and how good of friends they are. Instead of having Diana meet Miss Steve, we have her happy and having moved on because her missing Steve was fucking weird. Like, she knew him for a few days or something. I know he's like the first dick she ever saw, but whatever, man. He's been dead for like 70 years or something. Like, just fucking move on. But yeah, there are billions of dicks in the world, and some of them are made from plastic. Wow, I can't believe I just said that. Okay, so Barbara, we actually make her a good villain, not a generic one. So I'm gonna try my best to establish that Barbara has a brother, but Diana hasn't met him yet. She heard stories about him, but she hasn't met him yet, and she doesn't even know what he looks like. In fact, the brother is supposed to come and meet Barbara soon, so they are supposed to meet. Yeah, see where I'm going with this. If not, just keep watching. Sorry, I'm recording with my phone and it keeps moving. So Diana and Barbara talk about their love lives. Barbara is jealous of Diana because she's beautiful. Men want her and all that, but she's not into them. She doesn't want to fall in love at the moment. You see, instead of missing Steve as much as she did, she just doesn't want to fall in love and then have her heart broken again because she's single and she's trying to avoid heartbreak. She's immortal, basically, and the man that she's going to fall in love with is going to die. So she doesn't want to risk that. I know you might question, like, okay, but why is she friends with Barbara if Barbara's just going to die and leave Diana on Earth alone again? Okay, you can make that argument, but let's just forget about that. I didn't think about that, okay? On the other hand, Barbara wants to be like Diana. She, like she did in the original movie. So when the time comes for them to touch the Dreamstone, when they make their wishes and stuff like that, instead of them touching the stone separately, they touch it at the same time as a joke after hearing what it does, and again, joking around, they make their wishes silently. To them, it's not much of a big deal because they didn't believe in the power of the Dreamstone. They just did that as a joke. Obviously, Diana wished for Steam to come back, like in the movie, and Barbara wished to be like Diana. After a while, Barbara starts noticing that she has some strange abilities. similar to those of Wonder Woman, but she doesn't know this. She doesn't know who Wonder Woman is, and she has no idea what Diana is, since she's a demigod and she's hiding it. I don't know how to do this. Like, I suck at writing real life people because I am more of a sci-fi guy. So if you fill in the gaps. But just know that Barbara starts getting recognized like Diana was, getting the attention and all. Diana, on the other hand, is approached by this handsome man, and just like him just like in the film, he claims to be Steve, and Diana confirms it, like in the original film. Diana and Steve are happy together. I'm going to do something with this because I feel like they didn't do anything with it. Like they just ignored it. Like it's creepy, man. A random guy just steals your body and uses it to have sex with another woman without you knowing. That's fucking creepy, man. Like it's fucked up. So Diana and Steve are happy together, but at the same time, they do not feel good about the fact that Steve came back in another man's body. You see, the rule that was set in the movie was that if you make a wish with a stone, it takes something precious to you away from you. So in this rewrite, Diana does not lose her powers because I feel like that was weird. I can say that for the next movie. I feel like in the original movie, it was a good idea because she would be vulnerable fighting Maxwell and his men. But in my rewrite, she's only vulnerable to Barbara's new powers. So we don't really need to make her lose her powers. So yeah. So as for Diana, what was that? Okay, so this is why I hate writing a script. Sometimes I forget what I'm saying. So I'm just gonna read like the first two sentences and then I just see what's on my mind. So as for Diana, as for what Diana is going to lose to the stone, well, I will get to it. Like I will get to it shortly. Bear with me. Just know that she also loses something precious to her, but it doesn't happen instantly. So Diana and Steve try to figure out who this guy is and if she has a family or some sort. They go to his house to find out more about him, mostly driven by guilt, because they're kind of guilty that this guy, Steve just hijacked his body, and they're weirded out about it. They don't have sex because that sends out a really bad message. They don't have sex with that body. They just hug and kiss. They kiss and they feel like, wait a minute, I'm kissing another guy who doesn't even know that I'm kissing him. So I don't want to. I just want to make that clear. They don't fucking have sex. That's fucking creepy and weird. So yeah. So in my rewrite, this also becomes a big plot point because it leads to a great conflict. Meanwhile, Barbara is now the shit, not the shit as in the poop. Everybody likes her and she's now living the life of that Diana has been living. It was really good to her and she does not want to go back to her old life. But what she did lose in turn, we will talk about it shortly, what she lost to the stone. So Diana gets to this guy's house with Steve and they are on sorry, there was a disturbance. So they are surprised by what they find. The man whose body has been taken over by Steve is actually Barbara's brother, whom Barbara has been expecting to visit. You see what I did there? Like, building up the conflict. So Diana starts freaking out, realizing that she just took away Barbara's brother. Steve tries to confront her and make her think rationally instead of panicking. He wants to know how Diana brought him back. Diana remembers that she and Barbara made wishes together and they're both holding the dreamstone. So this makes her realize that not only did the stone grant her wish, but it must have also granted Barbara her wish. And for this reason, she also starts getting worried about her best friend. Just as Diana and Steve are about to leave, with plans to find out the stone and fix what they did, which is actually Steve's plan, Barbara finds them together in the house to her surprise. And Steve manages to play it cool and convince Barbara that they met at some place and decided to come together. And Diana pretends she did not know that it is her brother. And she actually decided to take Barbara's advice and start dating. Barbara buys the story and Barbara, what the fuck? Man, this movie is so boring. Every time I talk about it, I just sleep. Barbara buys the story and Diana and Steve, who's actually Samuel, I called the guy Samuel, the brother, Steve is in the guy's body, but Barbara doesn't know that, obviously. So Diana does not want to tell her the truth, and she wants to find the stone and fix everything as she claims. So Barbara goes on her date, which I forgot to mention. Sorry. Since she has come, she and some guy that she always worked it with had crushes on each other but never told each other. So they go on a date and stuff like that. Yeah. So the two of them on that date, well, maybe on their way back, on their way to the date, something like that. I don't know. You decide. They have a car accident and the guy dies. So Barbara survives the car accident without a single scratch. As she stands in the middle of the road, a bus smacks into her and comes to a full stop, and she picks it up without even trying and drops it on the other side. This causes a chain reaction of or whatever, with more vehicles smashing into each other, causing chaos. Barbara tries to help the injured, and she keeps causing more and more damage since she does not know how to control her powers. Steve and Diana see it on TV with Barbara being shot by the police. She's confused and doesn't know what is going on. She's bulletproof and she's insanely strong. Steve can't help but notice that she's more like Diana. With this, Diana remembers during the conversation with Barbara, Barbara mentions something about wishing to be just like Diana. Diana pieces it all together and she realizes that when they touch the stone, Barbara must have wished to be just like Diana, and that means she now has Diana's powers, which explains what is going on with her lifting cars and stuff like that. Barbara surrenders and she lets herself get caught by the police. And during her interrogation, they demand a lot of answers, such as how the hell is she able to deflect bullets? And, obviously Barbara doesn't know how she's doing it. Diana begins to see just how dangerous the stone is, and they frankly have no idea where it is. And only Barbara knows where it is being kept. Oh my god, I'm tired. My back hurts. So, she goes to Barbara as her lawyer, and she manages to get Barbara out of police custody or whatever. I don't know how that works. I'm not a lawyer, so you figure out how that works. You fill in the gaps. Diana decides to tell her the truth, and not the truth about Steve, because that would piss her off, but the truth about who she is. She tells Barbara that she's an Amazonian and she's the daughter of Zeus, the world god, or whatever the fuck. Barbara begins to understand how she has these powers, and she confirms that what Diana suspected, but with a minor difference. She didn't just wish to become like Diana. She wished to be better in every way than Diana. She admired her so much that she so badly wanted to be more than what she was. So Diana teaches her how to have control over her powers. Steve, on the other hand, is pretending to be Barbara's brother, Samuel, and is doing a convincing job. How? I don't know. You fill in the gaps. All I know is that Steve nails it, and Barbara believes that it is his brother. Barbara gets the hang of her powers, and she thinks she can be a hero of some sort. Man, my back hurts. Okay, I was changing positions. So Barbara gets the hang of her powers, and she thinks she can be some sort of a superhero or whatever the fuck. And Diana, like Diana did back in World War, since Diana recently told about that and how she met Steve. Steve suggests that Diana, God, my back hurts. Okay, Steve suggests to Diana that they find the story, and he tells her the stone, and he tells her that he's hearing voices, and it sounds like voices of Samuel. So apparently they're both in the same head, and Steve can hear his voices calling for help and trying to regain his body, control over his body. So a problem is encountered. Steve starts nose bleeding, and it's a sign that something is not right. Later, they discover that the fact that there are two conscious minds in the same body, and that same body is starting to deteriorate because of it. The body cannot handle two bodies. The body cannot handle two people living in the same body at the same time. So it's starting to die, and they're going to die in a few days. They did not tell Barbara about this. Diana is convinced that she can fix it with the Dreamstone if they find it. She confronts Barbara and tells her that they need to find the stone. Barbara doesn't have enough motivation to retrieve the stone from a highly secure museum. So Diana gives her motivation. Diana tells her that her brother is dying, and that is why he came to town. He wanted to tell Barbara that he's dying and he has a few days left. Remember, this is a lie, just to convince her to go to the museum and help Diana steal the stone. So this is confirmed by Steve, which is actually true because, as long as they're in the same body, the body will die. So Barbara is determined to break into the museum and get the stone, and she and Diana plan on how they will do it. In the end, as Steve and Samuel are now clearly getting close to dying, Barbara and Diana manage to get the stone, but it is in Barbara's hands. All they have to do is wish for the stone to heal Samuel and make him healthy again. Barbara comes to a realization. While she was going through the information about the stone, she came across a statement that says, if you have your wish granted to you by the stone, you'll begin to have negative side effects in your life. The bigger your wish, the more you have to lose. And that is when they finally get it. So when wishing for different things together at the same time, the stone granted their wishes, but the negative side effects that are coming into play. The negative side effects of that are coming into play, and Steve came back in another man's body, and that other man's body happens to be Barbara's brother. So in order for Diana to get what she wanted, she had to lose her friendship with Barbara, her best friend, and her only friend that she has ever known since World War. But as for Barbara, she has to lose her brother. So since they touched the stone at the same time, the losses were connected. Hence Diana's gain. Sorry. What was I saying? Okay, so both of them losing the two people that they love, in the end, due to the brain damage, is the biggest negative side effect. So Barbara does not know this. She thinks that her brother is only sick for some other reason, and she thinks that it is the side effect of the stone. Barbara and Diana agree to fix everything by wishing that the stone heals Samuel, but to their surprise, it does not work. Unfortunately, they can only wish. They can only get one wish each, and once that wish is granted, they can only renounce their wishes. And the only way to save Samuel is for Barbara to renounce her wish and go back to her miserable life. As for Diana, she knows that the only option they have is to save Samuel, is for her to wish to renounce her wish for Steve to come back, which means she will lose Steve. And they're willing to sacrifice. Barbara is willing to sacrifice her new life to save her brother by losing her powers and everything like that. Unfortunately, this does not work. Diana also grabs the stone and tries to make a different wish, and it still doesn't work. She used up her one wish, she can only renounce it, and according to the information Barbara went through, once you renounce your wish, the wish can never be granted again by the stone. So it's a one-time thing. I don't really want to put too much thought into the stone or its rules, but make it limited in power to avoid plot holes and all. So Barbara watches as Samuel or Steve starts dying. Steve tells Diana that he cannot let an innocent man die because of him, which confuses Barbara, and he goes on to encourage Diana to let him go and do the right thing. It's an emotional scene, and Diana watches Samuel die on the ground, coughing blood and all. Steve also reminds them that they touched the stone together and made a wish together. The only way to renounce the wishes is to do it together again. However, it is too late for Samuel and Steve. They die on the spot. This brings us to the end game. He reminds Diana just listen to the speech Steve gave, and she's pissed. Not Diana, sorry. Barbara just listened to the speech that Steve said, and she's pissed. However, she begins to piece together what happened. Diana wished for Steve to come back, and he came back in her brother's body. They had been both lying to her about it, with Steve pretending to be Samuel. And Diana only wanted to get a stone to split them and create a body for Steve. However, it didn't work, and because of a selfish desire to keep Steve alive, she's responsible for the death of both Steve and Samuel. Diana tries to calm down Barbara, and she starts getting worked up. I know I probably there won't be a lot of fighting in this rewrite because, a superhero movie doesn't necessarily have to involve too much fighting. Sometimes you just have to be, character driven as a story. So I wanted to have a story that was more personal to Diana as a character, a small conflict that would change her as a person and make her a better hero and learn from her mistakes. Because I feel like a big event like that wish thing that happened in the movie, Bruce Wayne would have known about it. The whole fucking world would have known about it, but they didn't fucking know about it. So what the fuck? So this is where Barbara would get pissed and just try to kill Diana out of anger and hatred. Remember when I mentioned that Barbara wished to get better than Diana in every way? Well, this is where it plays a big role. Barbara is way better at fighting than Diana. She has more power and strength than Diana. And the fight starts out epic and a little destructive, but slowly grows smaller and smaller, and it gets more personal. Diana tries to convince Barbara that tries to convince Barbara that they can go back to being friends and fixing everything and renouncing their wishes. Barbara talks to her about how she's the bad guy who destroyed the life of someone for her own selfish desires. I feel like this would make Diana a more interesting character than she was, because instead of being an overpowered god, she has to become more human and make mistakes as well. This big mistake is what pushes her to be better, and it pushes her to be what she was in Justice League. Remember in Justice League, when Diana talks to Batman about reviving Superman, this movie would have actually justified why she was against that idea, because she had brought back someone from the dead before in 1984 and it went horribly wrong. So bringing Superman back to life could have also gone horribly wrong. So we would actually understand why she felt that way in the Justice League movie. So I feel like this would have been a really great story, and of course Barbara would lose in the end, because unlike Diana, she's stronger and less experienced, which would make more sense than what we got. So during her last moments, after she realizes that she has been defeated, she leaves Diana with a speech, and all she ever wanted was to be like Diana. That was her role model, and it turns out her role model, her best friend, betrayed her because she caused the death of her brother and lied to her. She acknowledges that she also contributed to it, but she warns Diana that the stone is dangerous. Diana tells her that she lost her brother because she wanted to be something she wasn't. She tells Barbara that instead of trying to be like someone else, she could have been herself. This goes back to the scene that I said I would keep, the child Diana scene, because it talks about truth. The truth is important. So I feel like this is where it would come into play. Being true to yourself and true to other people, that would actually help you become a better person instead of being selfish. I feel like this is where that scene would tie into the story. Diana would still flash back to that scene where I don't know if it was the mother or what, telling her about truth. So Diana became friends with Barbara because of her humanity and the ability to make people become better versions of themselves. Diana learned a lot about being human because of her. If she only stayed true to herself, she would have never lost her brother. Diana also acknowledges that the fact that she also lost her humanity. She lost faith in people. She wanted to have Steve back because she thought she was lonely, but she didn't realize that she wasn't lonely. She had her best friend by her side all the time. They didn't realize that they had each other. Let me say, Diana didn't realize that she had a best friend, someone she can turn to when she was in need. She thought Steve was the only person who could do that. So she wanted Steve back and forgot about what she had. So they both come to the conclusion that they both fucked up. Diana had a gap she needed to fill. Barbara was there to fill in the gap. But Diana didn't want to go that far because she was afraid of letting people in. And Barbara, despite being invisible to everyone, is actually a good person. She gave all that away when she wanted to become like Diana, who lacked that humanity. In the end, Barbara dies. Diana takes the stone to a place only she knows. She cannot destroy the stone. It is really hard to destroy, because it's a mystical thing, blah, blah, blah. So the stone is really hard to destroy, and she tries to hide it from the public. Diana learns to be human again, and she finally moves on from the death of Steve, becoming the Wonder Woman we saw in Batman v Superman and Justice League. Now, this is the end. You can fill in the gaps in case I didn't address some of the points you feel my story is missing or something. But I believe this would have made a better story. Instead of having a large-scale threat to the world that nobody in BVS or Men of Steel or Justice League remembers, which contradicts the entire DCEU, we have a small story that is personal to Diana, and it actually helps her grow to become a better hero. I personally hated the previous Wonder Woman movie because she was just too perfect for my liking. They had the potential to make her a compelling hero, but they screwed it up by introducing a CGI monstrosity at the end, third act, that everybody talks about. But here, Diana learns to be human, And just like every human, she makes terrible mistakes. She's not perfect. She realizes that she still has a lot to learn about being human. She's growing as a character. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. And I hope you guys enjoyed my rewrite. And if you did, please like the video, leave your thoughts in the comments section. And if you want more videos like this, I can do that. Please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you get notified when I post a video. Like, you literally have nothing to lose when you subscribe. It would actually make even more it would make me more motivated to make more videos. If I reach 50 subscribers, I will make a Wonder Woman 3 movie set after the Justice League event. Yes, I would beat Warner Brothers to it and make my own Wonder Woman 3 just to follow this one up before they make theirs. As always, thank you so much for watching. I didn't think this video would go all the way to 35 minutes. I'm sorry about that. I thought I would make it shorter, and I could have made it in 2 parts, but I didn't want to do that because I don't think I would have the chance to do that. So yeah, this is Wonder Woman Rewrite by Don Hayden's. Thank you for watching this video. It means a lot to me, and I'm Don Hayden's. I will see you next time. Bye.